Southern Indiana Combat Production fans, I am here with Terry DeBrickhouse. Terry, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's just jump right into the first Southern Indiana Combat Production show. What did you think about it?
Oh, well, I actually got a call to actually compete on that first one. And my daughter was turning 21 at the time, and we had a vacation planned for us, so I couldn't make it. So I told them I thought it was like a missed opportunity. I was like, just think about me for like future shows. And while on vacation, I got a chance to like watch it online. I ordered the pay-per-view and watched a little bit of it. And I was like, oh man, it's a really good show, great show, And I was like, missed opportunity, So started following the page and following the promotion. And I remember they posted they were gonna start matchmaking for the next show. And 2 days later, I get a phone call and say, "Hey, are you available for the next show?" So I had to jump on it.
And I love to ask fighters this question. As a fighter, you're a veteran. You've been in the sport for a really long time. How is it working with someone like Scott Arnold because he's very professional?
Well, he's professional and he's fair and everything is in black and white. There's no gray area in between. And I don't have a manager per se. I have people to help me during training camp and get things I need during training camp. But I do all my own negotiations. And it was easy to work with him, because I know the business side and I understand that he has to make money and I have to make money. So we were able to find a common middle ground and make everything work. So.
That's wonderful because as an athlete, it just makes your job a lot easier to go in there, train, and perform.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And like I said, we've been in constant communication far as like what he needed from me, far as like me selling tickets and things, obligations he needed from me. And so he's been really professional with me, and I'm looking forward to coming down and putting on a show.
I love to hear it because, again, without you guys, there wouldn't be a show. And it gets tough when communication gets crossed and everything, and you're trying to train and eat properly and stay in a good mental state. So how is training for you for this fight?
But training, honestly, training has been wonderful. I trained at G2 Gilbert Grappling in Country Club Hills, Illinois, and I trained with some of the best guys. And people get on here and say that all the time, but it's an open invitation for anybody to come inside my gym if they don't think that I'm training with some of the toughest guys in the world. It's an open invitation to come in the gym and get some, and I bet you'll be feeling the same way when you walk out the gym. Those guys have really been pushing me actually since November. I've been training since November for this fight, and guys have really been pushing me. And we came up with a really solid game plan for this fight. We've been working on it, sticking to it, and we found like some holes in his game. We're hoping to expose fight night, and I'm feeling really good. My body's feeling real great. We're about 2 weeks out from the fight, 2 weeks from weigh-ins, 2 weeks and a day out from the fight, and I 100% trust my training, and I'm confident we're going to go in there and do what we got to do.
Having a solid training camp, it really gives you that confidence to go in the cage because I did look up your record. You've fought some really tough guys.
Well, that's always been my motto. My go-to is always I want the best guy every single night. I never took easy fights. I never even entertained easy fights or things like that. It was always I always wanted the toughest guy that night. And that's just line them up. That's just how I am.
So what do you think about Tavay Lewis? Where do you think, what do you think is going to be the toughest challenge that you're going to face in the cage with him?
But he's a tough, gritty fighter. He's tough all the way around. I would personally say he's well rounded. I don't see him being great at anything in particular, but I can clearly see that he's good at everything. And that's tough. When somebody's really great at jujitsu, you can stand up with them. Guys who got really good stand up, you can take them to the ground. But when they're really good at everything, makes them a tough matchup. And he's a tough matchup. And it's a great challenge, and I'm looking forward to it.
What's he going to have to watch out for you?
He's just gonna have to wait to March 4th and see. I don't want to reveal my game plan. These new guys are different. Everything is online. I'm a very private guy when it comes to my training. I rarely post pictures. I rarely post videos. And this new generation, they're YouTube stars and they're posting every single day. And I don't like to reveal what I like to what I'm gonna do. I really don't like to reveal anything. I'm a very private person when I'm training, so I kind of want him to be surprised when I go out there fight night, and he'll find out when the cage door is locked behind us.
Man, it's such a catch-22 because like you said, now in this day and age, everybody's posting everything. Every company wants to be attached to you if you have a lot of followings. Has that been something that has hindered you in your career so far?
Well, no, I've had a huge following my entire career. Even when I first started, I grew up in Chicago, and I currently live in Gary, Indiana, which is the region, and I got two big cities behind me. My following has always been huge, and it's only gotten bigger since I started in 2006. So I'm fortunate enough to not even have to put myself out there like that, and it's a rare situation, and I'm humbled by it, and I appreciate being born and raised in the 312 and living in the 219. My people show up. All I got to do is tell them where I'm going to be at, and they show up, and they just want me to train and be the best I can be that night, and everything always works out for me. So
That's so awesome. Well, you're a true veteran. I mean, you've been in this sport for a long time. So we can say you've paved the road for a lot of fighters as well.
Uh, well, a lot of people like to say that, but I try to walk with humility. And the fighters around here, you should see it. I meet some of these young guys now, and a lot of them was like in middle school when I first started fighting, and
Hmm.
wasn't even old enough to do stuff. And I hear stories all the time where they say, "I started fighting after I saw you fight," or "I wanted to fight after I saw you fight." And I'm in the gym with a lot of these guys now, and I'm training them. I'm training with them now, and I'm telling my age for one, which is I'm telling my age for
Hey,
one,
it's all right.
and for two, like it's humbling, and it always reminds me to just walk with humility, because a lot of guys will fade out in this sport so early on, and for me to be 16 years plus in, and I'm still not only competing but competing at a high level, because Tavay Lewis, he's not a cakewalk. He's a tough out, So but still being able to compete at a high level, it just goes to show my discipline. It goes to show how well I took care of my body over the years. I always listened to my body and trust my training. And as I got older, I had to switch my training up as well. Once you reach a certain age, a certain point in your career, you can't train like you used to, So longevity was always my goal in this sport. I didn't just want to just do it just to say I did it. I want to do it for a long time. And I'm fortunate and I'm blessed. And like I said, I walk with humility, and I don't walk with with my head up high. I don't shame anybody, and I try to just be a decent human being at all times. And it's the reason why I'm still here now. The universe gives you back what you put into it.
Amen to that. I'm a full believer in that. And I believe that the world, not just, MMA or sports, but I think the world in general needs to mix, the social media and the humility and staying positive and being consistent, because a lot of the younger generation, they have a hard time with consistency. And so learning that from someone like you is huge. Wouldn't you agree?
I think COVID had a lot to do with it, because in 2020 everything got shut down. A lot of guys couldn't fight, and they couldn't even train. Gyms was closed down, and I think that's when I stepped up and tried to be a much more of a mentor with the guys in this area, the guys that's in my gym, because it was difficult to get these guys to focus on training when they didn't even know when they were going to fight again. So I think that's when I really stepped up my mentorship and try to keep the guys encouraged, and continue to work on your cardio. Don't lose your cardio. Don't lose your training, because we're going to open back up soon. We're going to be fighting again, and I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't want to sit up here and knock them for the inconsistency, because I think before the shutdown, these fighters was pretty consistent, and the shutdown kind of let everybody down. It kind of had them at a low point. Mentally and spiritually, and once things started to open back up, I think that kind of had a little bit of a toll, but I think everything is getting back on track. These guys are, yeah, they're stronger, they're faster than it was when I first started in this sport. They're already coming in training some sort of other martial arts coming in, and the sport is in good hands. When I'll be gone soon, I only got a couple left in me, but the sport is in good hands, especially in Indiana. Chicagoland. This is by far the toughest area in the country when it comes to fighters. I tell people that all the time. I've slept in my own bed and had the hardest fight of my life, and jumped on an airplane and it was nothing. I'll challenge anybody that say that the region, in state of Indiana and Chicago, state of Illinois, don't have the toughest fighters in the world.
And that's what I really love about Southern Indiana Combat Productions is the level that it's bringing better production quality for fighters. It's bringing a better place, like just a place. Hold on, let me rephrase that. So Southern Indiana Productions or Combat Productions, they hold to a higher standard. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah, and
that's what I was most impressed like just seeing the whole production of the first show. And that's why I thought it was a missed opportunity. I'm like, God, like, man, I would have loved to done that one. And then I get a call for the second show, and of course I jumped on it and then started seeing in the background what they do for the fighters and everything like that. You kind of look like, man, I was probably 12, 13 fights in before I got this kind of treatment as a fighter. And here they are at their second promotion, and they're going to cater to the fighters after the weigh-ins and things like that. And they just want to make sure that all we have to do is focus on our training and come in. And it helps us out because when there's less for us to do, and we'll come in and we'll perform, and then at the end of the night, the fans will be the winners. So
absolutely. So Terry, I got to ask you this: what's your favorite moment in your fight career so far?
by far, it was the win against UFC veteran Melvin Gillard. The fight actually wasn't even supposed to happen. My opponent, he was scheduled to fight another UFC veteran, Andrew Holbrook. They were supposed to headline that card, and I was supposed to co-headline that card against another tough guy. He was a tough out, but he just wasn't like a UFC veteran, Bellator veteran. And my guy got hurt, and I got a phone call, said my opponent got hurt, and come to find out, Andrew Holbrook broke his hand. And I say, hey, well, I'll take the UFC guy. I don't care. I'll fight a gorilla if he's just get in the cage with me. And the promoter was kind of skeptical. They initially wanted to just bring him in and have him to do, like sign autographs. And I'm like, hey, man, he's already training for a fight. Give me the fight. And they said, you know what, let's do it. And he took the fight and went out there and hey, it was a 3-round beatdown. You know what I mean? He came to my hometown, man. I'm big on defending my house. He came to my house. He thought it was gonna be a cakewalk, and sent him home lumped up. Well, my wife, both my daughters was there. It was a really good turnout. And that was by far my moment. You know what I mean? It was a good time.
Terry, that's amazing. I love hearing stories like that because that's what, fighting's all about, competing and, challenging
Yeah,
yourself. And it's just great to see a fighter that goes out there and challenges themselves all the time. They're not trying to pad their records and I know that about this area, the Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Chicago, or Illinois, all these fighters in this area kind of get like kind of dismissed, if you might say. I've noticed for the past 2 years that I've been involved in MMA and fighting. And it's not the lack of talent. It's just we need more promotions. We need more places for fighters to get educated in the cage.
absolutely. I think if a couple more promotions come around, it could be like a feeder for like the larger promotions, the Bellators, the UFC, the LFA. I think if we get a couple of more promotions around here that can come and be a feeder. I know there's another one. I don't like the cross promotion. I don't want to mention any other promotions, but I
Right.
know there's another promotion here. I know for a fact that Bellator recruits from. And I think Southern Indiana Combat will probably position themselves to have like Bellator and other larger promotions to start uh, recruiting from them as well because of the talent they're bringing in. I believe they got like a bare knuckle boxing star on the card. I mean, I'm the main event, of course, but I'm a fight fan, of course. I know the bare knuckle boxing kid. I forgot his name. He's covered in tattoos. I love him, and I know he's fighting on the card tonight. And look, I'm a fight
Terry
fan,
House
so
loves you.
look, the kid probably gonna see this interview. I don't
Oh
know his
yeah.
name, but I know his face when I see him, man, because he actually fought a really good friend of mine in bare knuckle. And that's how I became a fan of his. And I saw him fight a couple of more times. And I'm like, this kid, he's really good. And then he's coming back to the MMA side. So kind of looking forward to meeting him. You know what I'm saying? So
I love seeing the bare knuckle guys cross over back to MMA.
yeah.
Like
Oh,
Gabriel.
yeah.
There's a lot of guys that Thomas Schultz, he comes over. I love bare knuckle. Yep. Yeah.
Tom Schultz, that's my longtime training partner, by the way. He's from this area. Yeah. Before he took off and moved to Oklahoma, he was one of my main training partners here, and I love him. Yeah.
So
I
nice.
love him.
He actually grappled my husband at a promotion. It was
really cool story about Tom. I'll tell you, I don't care what he got going on. He would stop and answer my text message. I remember text messaging him a meme, and he was backstage getting ready for his bare knuckle debut. And I was like, oh, he'll see it tomorrow. And he literally responded like 2 seconds later. And it goes to show you, when these guys go on to be, bigger and they become superstars, and, they never forget where they come from, and they never forget the guys that helped them get there. And I talk to him frequently. I talk to him once a week, if not every couple of days, actually. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Gentleman of violence, but he's a gentleman first. He's a gentleman 100% of the time. And I absolutely love Tom Schultz, and he knows this.
Well, Terry, I've got to say, you are a gentleman of violence as well. I cannot wait to see this fight March 4th happen. It's gonna be insane. It's gonna be a good fight. Just want to tell the Southern Indiana Combat fans, it's not smoke, it's not rumors. There's only limited seating left. Whatever, y'all got to get those seats. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's only balcony seats left. I want that place packed because I'm bringing some heat. I'm coming to sling some leather. I want y'all to pack that place out. I'm bringing the thunder. Terry, I'm excited to see it, and thank you so much for joining me today and taking the time.
Thank you very much. But plane leaves at about an hour. I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm going to finish my training camp out at Extreme Couture with my other fight team, and I'll be back. I'll probably come from there straight to the weigh-ins. So there's nothing really more to say. Just get me in the cage with him and lock the door, and let's see what's up.
Man, we'll have safe travels, and we will stay in touch for sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
Welcome back, fight fans. Southern Indiana Combat Productions is coming your way to the Veterans Memorial Coliseum March 4th. You don't want to miss these monumental March matchups. Between the main event and the live MMA atmosphere, prepare to be entertained throughout the evening. Be sure to grab your tickets and pay-per-views. You don't want to miss out on all this action.